Yo, yo, yo. Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Let Me Tell You Something. I am your host, Deldrian. I don't know why I did that. I saw Drake do that, so that's why I did it. Anyway, so it has been a week. A very long week. A lot of things going on. Things getting on my nerves. So I just want to start the top of this episode off by giving you a little word, which may be the same word as last week. Don't remember, but stop letting people play in your face. Stop allowing yourself to be accessible to everybody. Not everybody is deserving of your time, your energy, your presence, your wisdom, your charisma. Ooh, that was country. The limit jumped out. Charisma, not charisma. Yeah, all those things. That's what you get. But trying to act like you're small and that you know something. Anywho, yeah, no. Everyone should not have access to you. So when people show you who they are, in the words of the great late Maya Angelou, believe them the first time. Do not give somebody the opportunity to play in your face 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Believe them the first time. Let's get to today's topic. Politics. Ooh, a dirty word. Why are people afraid of talking about politics? Why are we taught from an early age not to discuss religion and politics? Well, I am breaking the taboo. I am talking politics in this episode. This episode is called A Political Affair. So let's get into it. Got my notes? I don't know why I just did that. I'm very comfortable today. I'm in a very good mood, even though I've had a terrible week. But let's get into it. So, why are people afraid to talk about politics? I feel that people are afraid to talk about politics. They talk about politics because politics can be offensive. People's political views can be offensive. And we live in a world where people do not want to be offended. They don't want to be uncomfortable. They don't want to have hard conversations. They don't want to have to reckon with the fact that some of their views may be garbage. They don't want to reckon with the fact that some of their views may be a little problematic. They don't want to hear differing opinions because everyone lives in their own echo chamber and wants to hear their own thoughts echo back to them at any given time. So we are taught to just avoid it like the plague. Well, we're not doing it over here. So I used to tell people that I was not a political person, that I really didn't get into politics like that. And that is a very stupid statement because, like I've said numerous times on this podcast, if you don't do politics, politics will do you. Politics determines so much of your everyday life. So that it is completely impossible to separate yourself from politics because politics is not going to separate itself from you. So I was just living life. I didn't really have any real political views about nothing. When I turned 18, I registered to vote, and I voted in every election since I turned 18. Go out and vote. We're going to get on voting a little bit in a second. Traditionally, is it traditionally? I guess. I've always voted Democrat. But as I've gotten older, while I still predominantly vote Democrat, I am more political in the sense of I just feel like politics and the political system is very outdated, obsolete, archaic. And I think that we should shift towards a political landscape that is geared more towards community and geared more towards improving the lives of people, making sure people have access to resources, making sure people have livable wages, housing, the necessities, not people who are 80, 100 years old, million, trillion years old, trying to hold on to their power, even though they are slowly but surely dying, allegedly. So, yes. I tend to be more towards how is this going to improve people's lives? Nobody is perfect. Life isn't perfect. But how can we get as close as we can to making sure people have the things that they need? And it seems that is becoming lost in the sauce, like a lot of things. So, let's get into it. The dumpster fire that is online political discourse. Some of y'all do not know how to talk to people, and I've talked about this in a previous episode about how we are losing the keys, the recipe, the sauce, the secrets to communication, to interpersonal dynamics. And basically, is basically a meme. You know that Spider-Man meme where people are pointing at each other and yelling? That's pretty much what online discourse is. How are we going to build bridges of understanding? How are we going to get to solutions to problems if everyone is just shouting into the ether at each other? We're not hearing each other. Now, I get it. Sometimes people be on some BS, and I don't want to hear all that. And you're not talking about nothing. And the views be too skewed to like, okay, we're creeping into conspiracy tinfoil, some weird-ish. I'm just gonna say that. It's in the words of the great mini leaks. It's getting weird. Sometimes it's getting weird. But I feel like a lot of people, most people are sensible and you can have a discussion with them, I believe. And so let's get into this whole agree to disagree. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot agree to disagree about human rights. Human rights, oppression, making sure that people have enough resources to live is not negotiable. You can agree to disagree about, policies in terms of, how you want your roads to be and things like that, But when it comes to, people should be stripped of their agency, their autonomy, women having their reproductive rights taken from them, not having the right to choose what happens in regard to their body. People of color, black people, the LGBTQ community having their rights taken away. And just because it doesn't affect you personally, because you may not be a part of those groups, doesn't mean it's not important. This whole, we can disagree. No, we can't. When it comes to human rights, agreeing to disagree is a cop-out. Cowards agree to disagree because they don't want to have the conversation. They don't want to have to face the fact that, hey, maybe, just maybe, your opinion, which opinions are not facts. Let me run that back. Opinions are not facts. You might be entitled to your opinion, and you're also entitled to get your opinion challenged. But everyone just wants to talk. And when we speak about human rights, the rights for a person to live their life with freedom in America, the land of the free, it's a party in the USA, that should be an issue, right? But it is. And while we get into a party in the USA, let's get into, well, you know what? Well, yeah, let's get into it. Patriotism. The cult of patriotism. I actually wrote a Facebook status because, I almost said something. I'm getting real comfortable because I almost really just said something like I'm just at home and I'm not. So let me get into my notes and let me find that post about what I said about patriotism. Hold, please. Watch me scroll. Very professional, I know. Here it is. So I posted this right after 4th of July, which I call Hamburgers and Hot Dog Day. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. And I feel like some of us, or some of y'all, not me, child, are trapped in this warped relationship, an abusive relationship with patriotism. Believing that you should simply be grateful to be in this country and never question anything or be displeased by anything this country has going on is not patriotism. You are in a cult, babe, if you believe that you cannot question anything that is going on in this country, the country that you pay taxes in. You cannot have an opinion about nothing that has going on. You should just be grateful. That is abuse. You're in an abusive relationship, babe. Please call the abusive hotline, the domestic violence hotline. Baby, you are trapped. Free yourself. Fantasia. Free yourself. There is nothing patriotic about being in a cult. And that's what it is giving. Multiple truths can exist at one time. I repeat, multiple things can exist at one time. You can be absolutely patriotic and proud. I am I am happy to be in this country because you know what? The country is not giving what it's supposed to. It's giving trash can and the Gucci belt. It's not really what it's supposed to be. It could be better. It could be better. Still love it. Great. Happy to be here. But still, it could be better. You can be grateful for the freedoms that you have in this country as an American citizen while also acknowledging that the state of the country is not where it needs to be. And how are we supposed to evolve and heal things and build bridges of understanding and build solutions if we keep turning into Ray Charles, Helen Keller, act like nothing's going on? That's not how any of this works. This idea that you should just be grateful and don't bite the hand that feeds you, that is such a trash saying. If the hand that is quote unquote feeding you is also abusing you, is keeping you down, keeping you oppressed, and people say, oh, how are you oppressed? Babe, everything going up at the wages. Women can't even decide whether or not if they want to keep a baby with their own body. You have men who were alive to see the first microwave, the prototype broom, telling women what they should do with their body. You have men that were alive when Lincoln was pewed, telling people what they should do with their body. Old. And I'm not ageist by any shape of the imagination, but at some point, hang it up, flat screen. Because that is true leadership. True leadership is understanding when you have reached the end of your road and it is time to step back and allow someone else to rise above the ranks. To be a true elder is to nurture those coming up behind you, not to just sit in your elder position and hoard the power, the resources, and the wealth. And so I wrote that status because I'm just so tired of people thinking that if you have any type of opinion about this country, that you're not a patriot. So, in conclusion, free yourself from this cult-like devotion to this fallacy image of patriotism. And while you're over there freeing yourself, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more of Let Me Tell You Something. Thank you for joining us over here at Let Me Tell You Something. If you enjoyed what you've seen so far, please follow us on YouTube at Let Me Tell You Something, over on TikTok at Deldrian, and on Instagram at Let Me Tell You Something. Now let's get back to more of the show. All right, so we are back. So let me go back to my notes. Let's go back to the online discourse, agree, disagree. This may be an unpopular opinion, and I'm not really both sides kind of person, but it do seem like a lot of people in online discourse are two sides of the same coin. A lot of the things that people claim to be so against, like ostracism and shunning and humiliation and embarrassment to people and all these different things, y'all also engage in the same behavior when it's someone who has an opinion or a thought that is opposite of yours. Now, some opinions are trash. Some opinions deserve pushback. But death threats, crazy work. Posting people's address, crazy work. Threatening people, showing up at houses, other things, crazy work. But I also understand that we are in times where people have to choose between whether or not they eat or pay their rent, their mortgage. Children are going hungry. We always talk about children, right? Children. But what happens when you want the child to get here, but then you want to devalue every single part of that child's life once it is born. Their education, how they feed, how they eat, food deserts are a real thing, access to proper medical care, access to proper schooling, access to childcare. So many things that will make that child's life better. Our legislative bodies are stripping it away. They are taking us back. And I'm not saying Republicans are evil. I'm not saying Democrats are better. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that our political system, binaries very rarely work, because you cannot believe that how many millions of people are in this world, billions, 8 million, 10 billion, however, that everyone's going to fit into this or that. So we need to try to expand the political system. And for the people who say, oh, well, in the case of I think it was Nick Cannon and Amber Rose, which first of all, Nick Cannon and Amber Rose say anything that y'all take it seriously is wild. Amber Rose, she got that tattoo on her forehead, and then unlocked the seventh evil behind her forehead. I don't know what's going on with her. Pray for Miss Girl. About Democrats being slave owners and all that. You do realize that was probably the case. That was the case then, and things changed. Newsflash: people can evolve in their opinion and their thoughts. The Democrat Party of then is not the Democratic Party of now. The Republican Party of then is not the Republican Party of now. So, this idea of I'm not back to the online discourse. I truly feel that it is okay for you to have your opinion, but when your opinion is rooted in harm, when your opinion is rooted in self-preservation, when your opinion is rooted in tunnel vision of thinking only about what you want out of life and not taking it into account that there are other people in this world who the policies and the elected officials that you support are supporting policies that are going to make other people's lives harder while potentially making your life better. I'm sorry. Everybody who sat up there and said that I'm voting for this because I want cheaper groceries, how do you feel? Who want a cheaper gas, how do you feel? Now, I'm not saying Ms. Kamala was perfect. That silk press was, though. But still. And I'm not telling you who to vote for. You can vote for whoever you want to vote for. But when you go in that voting booth, it is more than just your vote. It is more than just you who you're voting for. You're voting for your children, your community. You're voting for the world, because what happens in America affects the world. What happens in the world affects the world. Like, we are in the worst of High School Musical, we are in this together. And so when we make decisions, we sometimes have to think of people other than ourselves. I know America is an individualistic country. We're not very big into community. We're all about what we got going on. We don't really care about nobody else. But that's not the way to be. And so when it comes to online discourse, it is okay to hear an opinion that's different than your own. But when the opinion, let me get into this. A lot of people listen to respond and don't listen to actually listen. Active listening is a dying concept. You more than likely are not going to change anyone's mind arguing in a comment section on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, because those things are echo chambers where people are just trying to get their point across and whatever. What you can really do is surrounding yourself in real life with people whose life you can actually change by presenting your opinion in a respectful way. Now, I'm not one of those people who believes in like civility at all costs, because when we are in times when people are dying, people cannot feed themselves, people are hanging from trees, people are going missing, all these different people are being taken from countries that they've known their whole life and been taken to countries that they have no idea about, all these egregious things that are happening. Civility goes out the window. Now, I ain't saying you should run up on people doing all that, but sometimes, a lot of y'all have gotten really too comfortable. Like me over here. Y'all have gotten very, very, very comfortable. And I feel like this current administration has really emboldened a lot of y'all who are bigots, like let's just call a spade, very bigoted, views are very bigoted, to feel that you can, that feel that you are emboldened to say and do certain things to people. I'm here to tell you that that is not a wise decision, because while I do believe in civility and I do believe in trying to de-escalate and all that thing, everyone's not playing with you. It's hot. It is raining all the time, depending on where you live. Everything is going up, but the wages, people ain't playing with you. So be safe out there. And also, when I was growing up, it used to be a high honor to be the president. Now it's giving very much baddies USA, baddies DC. And I don't like that. I don't like how this political landscape has become this like political performative theater. You have elected officials arguing on Twitter. You have our president tweeting at us. I don't know if he's tweeting, but he's on whatever he's on. That's how he delivers news. You have elected officials arguing with each other like their own housewives of DC. And these are the people that we put in power. Your vote absolutely matters. Hold people accountable, not when you elect them, but when they're running. Hold their feet to the fire. Ask them, how are you going to, these are my issues. This is what I want to know. How are you going to improve it? How are you going to improve our life? How are you going to make sure that I can be where I need to be in life? How are you going to make sure that we are safe? And if you're not doing that, you're not getting my vote. If you get elected and you're not doing what the people want you to do because the people allegedly have the power, we're going to vote you out. Simple as that. And I just don't like how it's just become a whole lot of screaming at each other and not enough talking. Everybody is not an enemy. Everybody's not an op. There are some people that are simply misguided. And if you can, and I'm not even a reach across the aisle kind of person, baby, I can't tell you quit. I don't hear all that. Goodbye. But there are some people that you can reach. And to know that is to have discernment. To know which situations can you possibly be a bridge and which situations you need to be a match. I like that. When to be a bridge and when to be a match. Some bridges should be burned and some bridges can be built. And I just feel like right now, when so many different communities and aspects of our lives are in danger or under attack, we should be trying to build as many bridges as we can. And for the ones that we can't, absolutely. If you are on some BS, some bigotry, some racism, some hatred, some anti-women, anti-LGBTQ, anything that is going to just harm people, you do not need to hold a position of power. You do not need to be in office, because if you cannot serve the community at large, then you cannot and should not be in office. And this idea that people are trying to push religion and push God, I know God is tired of y'all invoking his name. God is giving Candyman, which I'm going to say that one time because that man's not going to come here and do nothing to me. Quit saying his name. Don't say his name. God is ashamed of some of y'all. The way that y'all use religion to push your bigotry is absolutely disgusting. It's abhorrent, and you should be ashamed. If you think that you pushing bigotry and division and hatred is going to get you into the gates of heaven, you're going to be very, very shocked when that elevator starts to go down. VIP, first class ticket to hell. And it's quite disturbing how we have people preaching about the Lord, preaching about God, using God's name and image to push their political agendas. Meanwhile, everything that they are embodying is the opposite, the antithesis of God. God is a being of love, understanding, community. There is no community in love and bigotry and hatred and division and sowing seeds of division. There is nothing godly about that. You can be a Christian, you can be a Muslim, you can be whatever you want to be, but that does not give you the right to strip others of their right to be who they are. If their religious belief is not infringing, it's not being infringed upon you, why would you infringe it on anybody else? And this also, I'm gonna get on, you know what? I'm gonna say it. Republicans and Democrats, for real. A lot of y'all do be on that BS about censorship, but y'all love censorship when it's somebody saying something that you don't like. People love to say they hate ostracizing people, they hate censorship, all these things, but y'all be quick to say, "Oh, I'm going to sue you. Oh, that shouldn't be on TV. That shouldn't be on this. That shouldn't be on that." And I mean, which is it? Freedom of speech does not mean it gives you the right to sit up there and say any and everything. It just means protection from the government. That the government can't really come after you. But if you get on TV and say something crazy, people can have a reaction to that. If you get anywhere, say something crazy that is false, there will be consequences for that. And this, I think people have conflated this idea that free speech means free consequence, and it does not. And there is so much misinformation. You, as a political figure, should not be able to get on television and spew things that are inherently false. Misinformation. You have so many people who are being indoctrinated into these groups that are built on the foundation of misinformation and disinformation, who have having their entire minds shaped by lies. People who are trying to fearmonger and cause seeds of division because they are trying to stay in their position. Do not fall for it. First thing I learned in school when going through my psychology training is you should always fact check things. You should look for things that disprove what you believe. It is not just engaging in confirmation bias and looking for things that prove your point. It is looking for things that disprove what you believe. Challenge yourself. Put yourself around people who view things differently than you, even if you don't agree. Now, again, if they're talking crazy, and if it's like some lunacy, QAnon stuff, run. If it's the earth is flat, run. None of that. We've seen the earth. I just feel that we are just wading into these waters of political apathy where people just don't care. You think your vote doesn't matter, but it does. You think that it doesn't matter what you believe because the world's ending anyway. The world is going to end one day, but that doesn't mean you have to speed up the process by engaging in this, "Oh, I don't care about nothing." You should. We are living in a time now where we have more access than ever before. And why are we not using that access to improve the lives of each other? We are living in one of the allegedly the greatest country in the world, and yet somehow people cannot feed themselves. There is no reason that there's a man with $1 trillion and there are homeless people. There should be no reason why people are on super yachts and people don't even have super homes. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I don't care what you believe politically. if your politics are not rooted in improving the lives of others and improving the mental, spiritual, and physical lives of others, then you are morally bankrupt. And there's no other way to put that. Life is to be lived as peacefully as possible. We are not supposed to work ourselves into oblivion and have nothing to show for it. We are not supposed to have to choose between eating or paying our bills. We should not have to choose between not feeling safe in schools or movie theaters or grocery stores when there is so much going on. There's so much hatred. There's so much everything. And we are all playing a part in it in some way or another. Nobody's hands are clean, but they can be. Go wash them. You have the power through education, through community, through immersing yourself in knowledge. Knowledge is the key that's going to save our lives. No one is coming to save us because everything that we need to save us is already within us. And I'm going to end on that. I don't even know if this is what I really want to say about all this. I feel like it may have been all over the place. I don't really know. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but you should be voting for people that are going to improve the lives of your community. People that are going to ensure that people are not starving, that people are not living in fear. And just because something doesn't affect you doesn't mean it's not important. Just because you may not agree with how something is happening doesn't mean it's not important. You can agree to disagree, but you can't agree to disagree about human rights. People are suffering. Kim, people are dying. People are dying. And what are we doing? You have the president saying he doesn't care about, what did he say? Inflation? Sir, really? And this ain't even like an anti-president thing. This is like a common sense thing. You cannot look at this country and say that everything is great. This is what we should be, because it's not. And while we're celebrating 250 years of America, we need to be celebrating 250 years of trying to get this to where it needs to be, on the right track. Because right now we over there, and we need to get back over here. We need to get back on track. We need to wrap that hair up and get to work. So yes, this has been A Political Affair with Deldrian. Let me tell you something. Season 4, over and out. See you next time. Bye. Yo, yo, yo.